Hello, this is going to be a Blasphemous any percent glitch guide. First things first, this game is not run on current patch. This game is currently run on patch 1.0.6. This is because older, or rather newer patches such as current patch have most of the glitches you're going to see used in this run patched out. So we kinda have to go back to older patches in order to use them. Down patching is really easy. There's probably going to be a guide up on speedrun.com by the time you're watching this. And if there isn't, you can just join the Discord. We do have a guide pinned on the general channel right now. The Discord invite is on speedrun.com, so that's really easy to join. Also, the current best time I can possibly imagine is a high 17, around 1740, 1750, something like that. The current world record is 1924. What I mean by this is that if these times do not seem relevant to you anymore, you should probably ask on the Discord if this guide is still good to follow. If it isn't, then I don't know, follow whatever they tell you to do. With those two things out of the way, first things first, like inside the actual run, if you go inside of options and game, you'll see that there's this option here called show how to play. You will see this on disabled. I'll hit apply here a couple times so you actually know that it's disabled. However, this literally doesn't matter because this game is badly coded and this option actually applies per save rather than globally. What this means is that if I start a new game right now, the tutorials will still play. The reason why this is relevant is because the game will start with a quitout, and during that quitout, you can technically menu this for free if your loads are long enough. My loads are not long enough, so you will not see me do this, but if yours are, you should definitely look into that, simply because it's free time save. With that out of the way, like I said, the game starts with a quitout. The first input you want to do is open up map, then menu, then quit out as soon as the menu actually appears, like so. And then you just want to mash enter and dismiss the initial cutscene with escape. That will give you control immediately, rather than making you watch the cutscene. The only important part of that skip is to actually wait up until you can see the menu, rather than doing the inputs too close together, else the cutscene will play anyway. If you want to see me do it again, but faster since I won't explain it anymore, it goes something like this. Now, when you've done that, you just want to continue right normally. You'll see another piece of tech coming up, which is called heal cancelling. The idea is that this game has momentum, so if you heal and slide off an edge or transition, you can skip the heal animation like so. You see that I gain health and I use the health flask, however no animation played. Like I said, that's simply done by healing just as you're about to go out off a ledge, or as you're about to transition, like there. Dismiss the tutorial and enter the Warden fight. The Warden fight is both really easy and really hard. This is because the Warden has no RNG to him. Well, that's technically a lie. There is some RNG to the Warden, it is simply whether he starts with a jump or an attack. That's the only RNG to the Warden, because his jumps are not actually RNG as you may first think. He will always jump depending on the speed your character currently has, the speed the penitent currently has. If you're going left, he will always jump left. If you're going right, he will always jump right. And dashes or any other sort of more speed makes him jump more. It is always simply related to your speed. And the idea here on this fight, and the reason why it's hard, is because you want to kill the Warden as far right as possible, simply because the transition is also right. So you want to use the dead time while he's jumping to simply move right and get some movement done. Also, attacking is not going to be simple attacking. You'll be doing crouch cancelling, which is this tech I'm doing right now. It's very easy to understand, you just want to crouch as soon as you attack, and that will simply cancel every animation and allow you to attack immediately again. However, things to note is that you cannot mash this. It is a timing that you have to get used to. If you try to go too fast, you will end up doing that, where you just simply crouch attack, and that's pretty slow because you can't cancel it. Or you will simply go so fast that your attack won't come out, like it happened on the first time. So basically, try to get used to this timing. Don't mash it, it's simply timing, you have to get used to it. The fight starts pretty simply. You just want to dash from under him, just to get some movement done immediately. Like so. And then you start crouch cancel. Whenever you see that he's about to dash, you just wanna try to move right, so that he moves right himself. Oh, try not to get hit. You can technically kill him in 2 jumps if you're not bad, aka you don't get hit, and your crouch cancel at some point. But a kill like that works fine enough. I normally try to split this fight on room exit rather than actual kill, simply because of your position mattering. You will see me do that on pretty much every boss. Movement in this game is very simple, so I don't know how much I have to actually explain of this. The game has a lot of buffer on inputs, so you can kind of mash dash, and it will always scan out. Talk to the Gracias, dismiss the tutorials, and go through the Holy Line. You're going to want to do 2 dashes here at first, then pogo that, then jump in the middle of these 2, don't get hit by that. Let me re-enter the room simply so I can show you the actual movement. 2 dashes, pogo this, jump, jump, dismiss the tutorial, dash through this man, dash through this, jump, dash through that one. Here, you want to jump through the mud rather than actually walking through it, grab Berdialas, and then input a movement so you can actually move before the blockers set in. We're going to be using Berdialas simply to cheese Escribar. You can technically skip it and fight Escribar normally, however, Escribar is basically the biggest RNG piece of shit you will ever see. He has a 75% chance to immediately kill your run, because if you want to fight Escribar normally, you want him to always cast fire at first. I will explain that further in detail once I'm actually on Escribar, but essentially grab Berdialas unless you want a 75% chance of your run to just immediately die at the start. With that out of the way, press jump here to get rid of that, pogo those guys, jump through the mud, pogo this guy twice, and keep dashing. Here, dash through this, jump, grab this ledge so we can actually avoid the mud, jump, pogo this to avoid the ledge grab, and once again pogo the carab to avoid another ledge grab. Dash through these people and into the town Albero. Now in Albero, you'll see the second major glitch of the run, the first one being the cutscene skip at the start. The second one is infinite sword levels, which, as the name suggests, allows us to get literally infinite sword levels. We'll only get 4 in this run, but you could get literally infinite with a glitch. For now, you'll head down to the first mea culpa shrine. You should remember this movement since you'll have to do it blind. It's not too bad, it's simply 2 dashes or 1 dash and a half on that upper part, and then simply 1 full dash here to actually get down. Now, this shrine is a bit different because it's the first shrine. It has a trigger right where my sword ends pretty much when you attack, that will give you +1 sword level and then play the cutscene. This order is important because if you hit the trigger and then immediately quit out, you will be able to quit out with the sword level, but without actually making the trigger go away because you haven't watched the cutscene. Rinse and repeat, coming back here and hitting the trigger every time, and you'll be able to get literally infinite sword levels. Like I said, we're gonna get 4 on this run, and the way to do so is that you're going to want to store a map through this transition. To do that, you simply press map at the same time you transition, and you'll have a map on the next one. Now there's 4 outcomes that can come to trying this. The first one is early, like so. Doesn't really matter, you simply go back out and try again. The second one is that you're late, same thing, doesn't really matter, just try again. Now the third one is that you have the map frozen like this, and you have no control of your character, you also can't really exit the map. Like, you press escape, but the game doesn't respond. The only way to actually get rid of this is to go to the menu, quit out, and then come back here. You will have the map stored on your way back, so it's not a completely terrible outcome, because you don't have to get the glitch again. but it's definitely worse than simply getting it or a fast retry, basically. By far the worst outcome you can get, even if it's not too terrible. Now the final outcome is that you actually get the glitch. The timing is a bit tricky. You can use the penitent one sword as kind of a cue. I don't really use anything, I simply go by feel. Whichever thing works for you, basically. I don't really expect to get it first try either, because it's kinda tricky, so using a setup is probably more consistent. That works. Now that you have the map, you simply dash, and then you immediately quit out, press escape a single time, and you're back in Alvaro with +1 sword glitch, sword level rather, and the trigger is still there. Now, the most important part of that sentence was by far that you only press escape once. That's because if you press escape more than once, you will dismiss this map too, and you will have to get the glitch again, which is obviously not really what you want. I would much rather, and anyone would much rather, do the blind movement than having to get the glitch every time. For now, simply keep going. Do this blind movement. Like I said, it's simply one dash and then a half. But if you do want to see yourself, you can do it like I've been doing here. Simply pressing K to open up the menu, and then escape to dismiss the menu. In order to get 4 sword levels, we're gonna have to do 4 sections of line movement. If you quit out too late, like I did there, and press and escape once will dismiss the menu. So make sure that you quit out as soon as you dash, and don't get distracted by explaining the glitch like I did. Now, since that was the final one, I will actually press escape twice to dismiss the menu. And you see that I currently have Mea Culpa level 4 of a single shrine. Like I said, you can get infinite sword levels, so you just have to repeat this process more times. We're actually talking on Discord about getting sword level 5 rather than 4, so I wouldn't be surprised if this number changes a long time. For now, I'll explain this guide with 4 sword levels. Head all the way right to the Wasteland of Buried Tortures, while currently rushing over to the Command of the Lady of the Charred Visage. This section is pretty easy, it's simply movement. You're going to want to dash as much as possible basically, especially since you can actually cancel dashes in this game, unlike in other games like for example Hollow Knight. Also, ledge drops are kinda fast in this game, so if you can't skip simply like a platforming section, you will probably want to skip it with a ledge drop rather than actually going through a platforming, simply because jumping in this game is kinda whack in the sense that you can't control your jump height. Any kind of jump will always give you the max jump height, so avoiding the time it takes to fall down is usually faster. Here for example, I will grab the ladder and then do a light drop. And on this ladder here, it's a bit whack, because this ladder, for example this jump, will not make it up, even though it appears like it should have. Ladders are very unforgiving, like this also won't make it up, I think this doesn't either. I don't know if this does, it doesn't. So what I actually try to do here is to actually get the ledge, get like the ladder, get up animation, else you have a lot of chances to simply fall the way down, and that's really annoying. Let's grab that and keep going all the way to where our lift is wither. Dismiss this tutorial, climb up, dash, then mash dash to avoid this ledge here. This ledge is very annoying, makes movement awkward, really try to avoid it. And now in the next room, you have the first instance of super jumping, which is by far the biggest glitch in the run. I'll demonstrate first. All you really have to do is to grab a ledge after a wall jump, then pause, like so. And then this will store speed, basically, which you can then release by getting off the ledge. It only ever gives you vertical speed, and if you want the inputs a bit more slowly, you just grab a wall, jump to a ledge, pause for as long as you want, longer pause times give you more speed. Like for example, since I'm explaining it and I have the pause menu open, you'll see that this one's gonna give me a huge amount of speed. And then you want to drop from the ledge rather than doing a get up. If you do a ledge get up, you actually get literally no speed, so make sure you don't do that. If you want a more detailed explanation of why this works, as in code wise, essentially wall jumps give you speed over a 1.5 second frame, and then ledges disable your physics, both on first grab and on get up. So you can essentially just store those 1.5 seconds with a pause after grabbing a ledge, and then release them all with getting off the ledge, and that will shoot you upwards. Continue through this place, try to dodge these walks, because we're about to do a fair amount of damage tanks, so you want as much health as possible. Pogo this thing, and enter Graveyard of Pigs. Now this area is by far the most annoying area in the game, so when you're first learning, you probably want to go in here and grab this save point. Like I said, this area is by far the most annoying one. I died here learning this run a huge amount of times, so anything that makes you not have to come all the way back here is useful. Now, we'll jump up this, go here, then perform a small glitch here, where you're going to want to pause before you actually slash the wall. That will give you that small drift, so you can actually do this super jump up here and skip the right side of the room. Now here, this is by far the most annoying room in the game, or at least in the run. The idea is that you want to kill this ghost by attacking him on the right side, so that you push him left, and then you can perform a super jump off that wall and the ledge that has the ladder. This may sound overly complicated, it's easier once you actually demonstrate it. Attack this guy 1, 2, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Please note that in order to actually make that jump, you need the wind cycle to be correct, which is why that room is particularly annoying, simply because you actually have to hurry to make the first wind cycle. If the wind cycle is off, you can simply wall drift, it's just a bit slower. On this room, you want to super jump 1, 2, 3. Then you want to heal through this transition. If you miss it like I did, nothing really matters, or happens rather. And then you want to push this ghost to the right to perform more or less what we did on the room that I said was the most annoying one. Like so. 1, 2, push him right, I don't know if I said left, I'm sorry. 1, and then you can actually wall drift all the way up to the next wall. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way up. Then try to heal through a transition and enter the combat of the lady with the charred visage.
So no,
Now there's going to be a lot of force damage tanks on this area. The first one is this lady, and something to note is that her weapon does way more damage than she herself. You want to keep as much health as possible due to your damage tanks, and the way to actually consistently tank her instead of the weapon is to jump where this ash pile ends and the next kind of ash pile begins. It's not really a pile, but you do see that there's like a gap where there's no ash, and then it starts there's ash again. You want to jump right there, like so. That always lets you tank her instead of the weapon. It's very consistent and it saves you a lot of health. Continue through the combat. For now, for this guide, I'll grab this save. You don't usually need this save, but for guide making purposes and in order to actually split this guide into 2 videos, I'll take this save and then the guide, or rather this part here. If the reason for taking this save actually is simply health based. There's going to be a lot of damage tanks on the next rooms, and if you don't have enough health, it's faster to simply take the save point than to try to heal it off. Anyway, see you in the next video.